Hello friends and enemies. Today we are looking at the SH MonsterArts Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't remember this movie too well. I was a much bigger fan of King of Monsters, but I have been in need of a good Godzilla. I think what denotes this, especially for being from Godzilla vs. Kong, is the blue coloration on the spines and the mouth. Pretty confident this is just a re-release of other SH MonsterArts Godzillas, just with the blue coloration. I mean, why wouldn't it be reuse? Anyway, really appealing package, crazy colors, big image of Godzilla himself here on the cover, and it is an image of the toy, not of Godzilla from the movie. All sorts of logos and whatnot. Shiny holographic thing. That's nice. Just so you know, it's not a knockoff. Godzilla vs. Kong on the side. And on the back is where you get a kind of glimpse into what he actually looks like. Got more action shots here. You've got a window up on the top that doesn't really do much good. And warnings and stuff on the bottom for ages 15 plus. If you give this to someone who is below the age of 15, I guess a giant lizard will come out of the ocean and, like, stomp on them or something. And you. So I've been wanting a MonsterArts Godzilla for a while, but I never really took the plunge. And boy, do I have a story to tell y'all. So I was at Target, and you cannot imagine my surprise when I saw that they had not only this guy, but King Kong himself. I've never seen MonsterArts figures at a Target. It kind of blew my mind. So I just wanted to see how much he was. Because I've been in the market for this Godzilla for a while, but you know, funds being the way they are, it wouldn't ring up at the price checker thing. It wasn't even in the system, I guess. So we just took it to self-checkout to see if it would check out there, and it didn't still. So we got a manager over and they took a look at it. It wasn't ringing up, and they brought it up on their little handheld doohickey device, whatever, and was like, is this it? And we were like, no, because they were showing an obviously cheaper Godzilla. We were like, no, that's not it. And they were like, well, I'm going to ring it up as this anyway, since it's not in our system. And they did, so we got this Godzilla for super cheap. I feel kind of bad about it, actually. It was done before I could even process what was happening. And you know what they say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And so now we have this Godzilla. I will say I like the SH MonsterArts stuff a lot, but their articulation system is a bit of a pain. And I can already tell that's going to be the case with Godzilla here. Another thing that bothers me right off the bat is that you can see through his tail. I know that's just to facilitate the articulation and posing, and it won't be a big deal when you get him into a pose and you keep him there, but right now I can see right through his body, and it kind of is weird. So I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore Godzilla fan at all. I've seen some of the Japanese movies. I have seen all of the MonsterVerse movies. I just like monsters in general, but of course this thing looks awesome. So many segments in the body for posing, lots of ragged texture, and I don't mean ragged in a bad way, that's just how he is. Some really nice crevices and grooves. I don't want to say scaling because his scales are so craggy that they don't even resemble scales. You've got some heavy scale work here and some scoots here, but the rest of his body is just so barky. And the thing with sculpting large creatures like this in miniature form is that it is hard to get detail like that correct. You can't be too precious with the detail because it is a huge creature that's scaled down. Any detail you would really see on a creature that large isn't really going to show up on a sculpt this small. But I think they did a great job with the texture. It looks believable. And of course you've got those sweet blue spines. That's part of the reason that I like this figure in particular, is just I don't know if you can tell, but I really love this particular shade of blue. So he's got the blue eyes, the blue mouth, the blue spines, revving up for an atom attack. A negative thing I would say is that he doesn't come with the atom attack accessory. It's just him and these extra hands, which we'll get to in a minute. A breath attack would be really cool with this guy, but we don't get that unless what happened to me happens to you, which I think it was a major fluke. He's pricey. He's a pricey guy, and I think he should have come with some kind of other accessory besides extra hands. Clearly as much articulation as they could manage in him, but I don't know. He needs some kind of breath attack accessory, I think. Doesn't take much posing to imbue him with a sense of personality, a sense of movement. We ran into this with the and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name, Narakuga, the Monster Hunter monster that's like a cat dragon. I'll show it in a minute. We ran into this problem with the Narakuga of just that plastic is so pokey and a little bit difficult to stick into position, and I assume it's just that way with all MonsterArts figures. I've only got these two to compare with though, but let's see what all he can do. Of course, we've got the mouth open and closed. The mouth cannot close all the way though. This tongue gets in the way, but I do like that the tongue is also painted this metallic blue. Man, and those eyes are so far recessed in, and the paint got all the way back there, which is really neat. Again, for something of this price point, you're going to see higher quality. Still a little expensive for what it is, I think. I mean, that's the reason why we didn't get Kong, is he ended up being like $80, I think, and he is smaller than Godzilla. He does come with the bone axe accessory, which is super sweet, but also, I mean, if I had to choose, definitely Godzilla all the way. I don't think it's any secret that great apes freak me out, so I don't need a bunch of ape toys laying around. He can look down a good amount, and that's because of these nice neck segments and what I presume is some kind of ball joint in the head. He can also look up. We've got, of course, some twist. I don't want to stress it too hard because, like with the Narakuga, this plastic feels brittle. I'm sure it's not, but it feels that way. Got a little movement in the base of the neck also. Some torso movement. Not much there. But I mean, in all honesty, this is not a creature that is built to get into crazy poses. It is a big, chonky lizard. So just the design alone doesn't really facilitate posing. Got a little bit of swing to the arms. Some elbow movement. Really, actually pretty good elbow movement. Swivel on that arm too, and then the same on the hand. Let's look at this chunky leg joint. He did not skip leg day. It can pivot out pretty far. Got a really big knee joint there. The calf is going to run into the back of the thigh. Ooh, and don't twist too hard because then it'll come off. So yeah, it looks like there is some articulation in this leg, but I think this is just for show. I don't see any articulation that actually exists in this area. I mean, of course you've got pivot for the ankle, but these two segments right here, I don't think they were needed. It could have been a solid part. And I think I felt that way about the Narakuga too. It's just like, some segments didn't have to be segments. They could have just been solid. But man, I love those feet. Oh, and there goes the knee again. And then, of course, you have this big, chunky tail. I don't want to stress it too hard, again, because I don't want it to pop off like the knee did, even though it's an easy fix to just pop it back in. I will say that his crotch piece right here is a little uneven, and that bothers me a bit. Let's see if you can twist it back into place. Yeah, it is uneven. It just like is lower here than it is up on here. And I wonder if hot water could fix that, but I'm not sure. So it's definitely impacting the articulation of this leg, whereas this leg can pretty much do all the things a Godzilla leg could do. Oh, well, that was an accident, but now you can see the inner workings of the Godzilla. Yeah, I do wish that there wasn't this gap here. And with that leg gone, you can see these rotating segments of the tail. I just don't think all these segments were quite necessary. And also, now that this leg is off, I can tell you that this joint does not want to move. It is stuck McDuck. I'm going to run it under some hot water and see if that does anything, and then I will return. Alright, so I ran him under some hot water, so he's a little wet right now, but I got that leg back on, and I tried to kind of get this crotch piece hot enough to where it would reform into the shape I think it should be, and it worked a little bit, but still not perfect. Despite all the segments, and despite that this is a higher end figure, not great in the articulation department. And in all honesty, I expected that because I've learned from the Narakuga, and I'm sorry if I keep pronouncing it wrong, I've never played Monster Hunter, I just like the designs. Beautiful, but frustrating. So let's look at the accessories really quick, and as I mentioned, he only comes with these alternate hands, and I don't really know why he comes with these hands specifically. It's been a while since I've seen Godzilla vs. Kong, so I don't know the significance of these hands in particular. They don't really want to snap in, but I guess it's in. the peg came with this one, and I don't have pliers with me to pull it out. And it's wet, so there's no way my little weak fingies are going to be able to pull this out. So this hand is just going to stay in. I guess we're learning, if you mess around with this figure, have pliers and hot water handy. And this one just came off. Yeah, it is frustrating. It is frustrating. Like I said, I expected that. Though I have to say, if I'd paid full price for this, I would be sorely, well, maybe not sorely, I'd be disappointed. He's just a little over-engineered, I want to say. Over-engineered and lack of accessories. As I alluded to earlier, it doesn't really take much to put him in a convincing pose. He won't look very dynamic, but he will look like Godzilla. So when I display him, I'm not really going to attempt to get him into any crazy poses because frankly it's just not fun and it's not worth the effort, but he should look cool in just a static pose with some other monsters, and we will bring those in. So here is the Narakuga. It's a cat dragon. Here he is with the cat dragon. I think the Godzilla is supposed to be much, much larger than this, so it's not in the same scale, but they do look good together. But you can see here the same kind of issue, just like a little bit over-engineered segments that don't need to exist. But it's a beautiful piece when it's just sitting there. But is it worth it? That's up to you. And then we have a NECA Godzilla. I believe this is from Destroy All Monsters, but I could be wrong because I'm not a Godzilla expert. He actually came with the breath effect. It's not in right now, obviously. This is a much different Godzilla design, but they do look really nice together, especially since they both have the blues in the spines. And so actually these are the only two Godzillas that I have. I'm definitely happy with this one. It's stylized, it's based on an older movie, but it looks really cool, and I love the breath effect. I should have brought it in, but I didn't, sorry. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, if I'd paid full price for this, I think I would have been disappointed. It's just too much money for what it is, I think. He looks beautiful, but like a unicorn, extremely frustrating. That said, this isn't going to be our last SH MonsterArts review. I've also got Mechagodzilla and King Ghidorah down the pipeline, so eventually we're going to be taking a look at those. And I am both excited and scared because these MonsterArts are just a hassle. They're a big hassle. You know, no regrets with this one because I got it for cheap. A perfect toy, I think, should be something that is both beautiful to look at and fun to play with, and these are not. Though I really do have to commend the sculpting skill, the paint skill, the attention to detail, and I just like monsters. Likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome, and I will see you guys on the next one.